Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a guest that we have had a couple of times. He lives in one of the hottest spots for Dogman, or what he and his family refer to them as the Walking Wolves activity, Taylor, Mississippi. His life got turned upside down so bad that he had to move out of state and had to move up to Maryland. So I have an update from Luke tonight. Before we get into that update, a couple links. As you know, I rely on my Patreon, my PayPal, and my merch to help this channel to continue to grow and go. All of those links are in the description below. I also have a second channel for creepypasta, fanfiction, and scary voice acting. Stories that, well, they just don't fit on this channel. Now, if that's anything that you're into, follow that link and give those stories a listen. You may just like what you hear. Now I've taken enough of your time, and we've all waited to hear from Luke. Let's get on with today's interview. Shall we? All right, guys, tonight I have a longtime guest who we have not heard from in a very long time. He had to make some changes in his life. He's going to share some of that with us and share some stuff that went down during that. I have Luke from Taylor, Mississippi. Luke, how are you?
Hello, how are you doing, everybody? Good to be back, guys. I'm doing pretty well, actually. It's a whole different environment. My kids love it. I'm actually doing great, so I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you're safe. I'm glad your family's safe. You've been wanting to get in touch with me. I've been busy as heck. You said you got some stuff that you wanted to share with me and everyone else. So I'm going to give you the floor right now and let you just tell us what you had been going on and some things that you came up with in your own head too.
Hey guys, how's it going? Luke here. So pretty much as y'all know, I moved from Mississippi a few months back. So right now I'm actually in Maryland, which is actually a great spot. But like prior to the move and stuff, I was having like certain issues on the property because pretty much what we did, like after that last encounter, took my lay out the groundwork first before I get into this, so you can understand what I'm about to tell you. My wife's sister lives not too far from us, maybe about like 15, 20 miles from us. Then we have friends that live in a couple towns over. That's about almost 2 hours away. So the first time when I had the incident when one of them walking wolves had broke into my house, when I had the inkling that my family wasn't safe, I had sent them to her sister's, and they stayed there for like about a week or two. And then I actually got attacked by a dogman. I was in hospital. I actually still am trying to recover. The use of my arm is still not 100% just yet. So, and then the second time when we was moving, we went over to the friend's house. And that was a couple of hours away due to the fact, like at the time I didn't think about it, like she's only a few miles away. What if these walking wolves tracked us to the house and I put them in danger or something like that? But nothing happened thus far. So the second time we went over, we stayed at the friend's house. They had an extra 2 bedrooms, so everything was good. So we hired a bunch of movers because my wife's aunt works in Maryland. She's a real estate agent and she owns a few properties. So we told her about the incident that went on over here. Now she told us to come down and she had a property set up for us, which we did. We looked at it, we loved it, bought it. We moved down there like probably at the end of the month, but at the time we were staying at the friend's house for a couple of weeks. So we hired movers and stuff like that. Like, moving company cost like a few $1,000. They was gonna drive it all the way down to the new house and stuff. So everything was going great. So he was moving the stuff, I gave him specific instructions like, I don't care how long this takes, though, but I do not want you here past a certain time. There's a bunch of wild, dangerous animals out here, and I don't want y'all here to get hurt. And if y'all do, bring a weapon, some kind of weapon, something to protect yourselves. So you know how people are when you tell them something like that, they look at you like you're crazy or this, that, and the third. And so everything got moved, things that in the third. So as that was happening, like everything got moved, everything was clear from the house. I was at a friend's house, so I was having like this was like maybe a couple of days later after everything was like moved down to the new location and stuff like that. I received a phone call from this kid. He was one of those. He was actually the kid who was on my property that day when I got injured, and like he was telling me like a whole bunch of stuff that was going on. That the reason why those Dogman was over there is because his team, and they're not related to Victor's team because I asked him, and he said that there was actually like over 100 agencies in the government, and a lot of them don't know about each other, or if they do, it's a certain classified thing, or it's a front, or this and that. But anyway, so what pretty much happened was, like, they was hunting the black one that I had encountered with, and they ended up killing its mate, a female walking wolf. So that led it to start hunting them. So as it was hunting them, somehow it created a pack of like maybe about 30 or 40 Dogmans. And it was following them. It was literally following them to each one of the cases because the way they communicate through howls, like their communications, like they can communicate like howls and certain gestures. So like if they're like about miles away, something howls, it'll tell them to come over there or whatever because they can pinpoint the location of where the howl's coming from and they'll go in that general direction. So that's how they was able to track these guys. So the guys knew they was being tracked. So what they did was, because they heard me on YouTube and stuff like that, telling them everything was going on, or how I had proved this, that, and the third. So they came to my property a few times in the past. And I was thinking, this whole time I was thinking it was Victor's team, which now I find out that it wasn't his team. So that being said, these people led those walking wolves to my property to either to get me to leave or for it to kill me and silence me. And the kid that told me this no longer works with the agency. So he felt like, he owed it to me to tell me. So me finding this out, so my property sees same people, which was the government, bought my property. And so I was, at the time I was emotional, so like I didn't want to be in the house. So first of all, I don't drink at all. So I went for a drive. I went back to the old property. And I had some kind of liquor in my hand. And this time I literally solicited an encounter with the walking wolves. I was looking for them. So pretty much I got to the property. I'm sitting in my car drinking, just crying, drinking, crying, yelling, screaming, cursing, drunk, pissed. All these emotions was hitting me at once. So I'm just walking. I had my only thing I had with me at the time was just my 40 on my hip. So I'm just walking around the property, just crying, like all the things that I have to give up because these people like just wanted to ruin my life. So I'm just screaming to the top of my lungs. Like I'm cursing these rules. Like, so not knowing that I was being watched by one of these wolves. So I'm like about, give or take, I'm walking quite a bit away from my truck. I'm about, give or take, about 100 yards away from my truck. And as I looked at the wood line, I see the red eyes. So as I'm like trying to turn around and make it back to my truck, I trip. And from the wood line, it jumps from the wood line about a good, maybe about 20, 30 feet, 2 jumps. And it was standing about a good like 15 feet away from me. So I'm like, at the time I stood up like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, yo, this thing that I have is not going to do anything to it. And honestly, I purposely just stupidly just put myself in the position that I was in. So as I did that, I'm just standing there like seeing what it was going to do next. It growls, and then like a couple of more things came out. Like a good, maybe, I think I could count like 8 to 12 of them was literally just had me surrounded. And I just had my flashback, like back when I was like in my 20s. But at this time, I didn't have my friend to come protect me. So, and I was like, yo, these things are ready to kill me. And I'm like, yo, I can't believe how I could be so stupid. So, like, I didn't want to get eaten alive, yo. I didn't want to die that way. So, honestly, I made the choice, yo. Like, I was going to kill myself before they had a chance to kill me. Hold on a second. The only thing that I could do at the moment is, like, I have my handgun on my hip, so I take it and I'll slowly just pull the thing up. Because I already figured I was going to die anyway. The worst thing to die is I was getting eaten alive. So as I was slowly lifting it to myself, this thing roars at me, which causes me to drop the gun. And then it took a few steps forward, and looked down at me like, I don't know, like I like you infuriating him. Like, what are you doing? And then I swallowed myself. So it sniffed it. It grinned. And I'm like, my eyes, at the time, my eyes was closed, just like waiting to just be, like, I guess being killed or whatever. Like, I'm praying that it would be quick. So, like, a few seconds goes by. Like, I didn't feel nothing. So I slowly opened my eyes. Quick as they was there, it was gone. So, and I'm right now, I'm pissed drunk. And I'm not able to drive back. So I'm calling my friend to come get me, telling me where I was at. So it took me about like a couple of hours to get to me. So I had to go home, took a shower. Like I didn't let he asked me what was going on. I told him, and I told him not to tell me. So I went to the shower. I avoided them because they were asleep though, so I didn't really have to do too much. So I went to sleep. So the next day, I don't know, at the end of that month, we actually flew down to Maryland.
Luke, so, your volume went low real quick. Your volume went real low. I can't hear you, buddy.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
All right, good. So I was saying that so we flew down to Maryland and stuff like that. So we got our stuff unsettled, unpacked and things like that. Because the way how we paid the movers, we paid them half, and we paid them the other half when the job was complete. So like I realized that not all the movers were there and stuff like that. So those 2 guys was missing. So I was like, what happened to the other guys? He's like, they're not coming back. They don't want to come back. So I asked what happened. Well, the story was from them was that they was moving the final things. So half of the team already left. It was like, I think it was 2 of them that was left. And they was trying to move the final things because they were trying to get it done so they wanted to come back in the morning. And nighttime caught them there. So they started hearing things coming from the wood line, like noise and stuff like that. So he was like, He was like, they didn't think nothing of it. So then they saw like some glowing orange amber looking eyes or whatever. And as they was trying to focus on it, they made out like a mask. It was like brown with shaggy hair. It was two of them. So he came out. They came out charging them. So he ran. So the only thing that they could lock themselves in was my shed. And you had to put like a way to barricade the door in. And this thing was just like banging on the door, trying to get in. So like they was screaming, hollering. The other one was like, he got his phone out and he called the cops, like told him they'd be attacked by an animal or something. I don't know what he told him. But then he come out there to the police came in. And they hurried up and finished what they was finishing. And they left and it was like, I'm not coming back. So that's what happened with the two movers. And then the reason why my aunt-in-law was able to, believe the story that he told her, because she had an encounter about, like, I think like 15, 20 years ago. It was a brief encounter. She was driving home from work. Now, it was late at night. I don't know what road she was coming down, but she said it was a two-way road, just two lanes. And then she was going up this, it's like a little hill. Something crossed the road, and it was taller than her van because he drove a minivan. Minivan was like maybe about, I think the top of it was like maybe 5 or 6 feet, and it was like way over. She didn't know it was she at the time she thought it was a Bigfoot. But now she's not so sure. After I told her what was going on. So after all of that being said, we unpacked. We was pretty much getting ourselves settled. The kids love the environment. It's not like we don't have no acres anymore, but it's just fun, because at the end of the day, there are other houses around, not too far from each other, so it's a beautiful place. So then, just after we done got settled and stuff like that, I went to I drove around to like the local woodline and stuff like that, just looking around and see if there's any signs of these walking wolves in the area, because there's ways you can tell if they're in the area. So, like, if you find like a strong scent of piss, like the strongest piss you could ever smell, if you see like scratch marks above like about 6 feet, trees pushed over, and things like that, that's how you know you should have one of them walking wolves in the area and things like that. So, I went there in the daytime. I didn't see no signs of the walking wolves, but I did see signs that there was a Bigfoot in the area and stuff like that. So I left. I came back the following weekend with some apples, like in the areas where I knew there was at, and I just kept leaving it there. So I used to bring like apples like every weekend and leave it there, and of course the apples was going and stuff like that. So I work overnight. So one day, I was actually coming home from work and stuff like that. So I was already tired, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't falling asleep on the road, but I was dozing off, so I was turning up to try to get home and stuff like that. And like something ran in front of the car. I think it was a doe or something. I wasn't too sure. It wasn't that big, so I didn't think anything of it. So I swerved out the way, and I ended up hitting the guardrail and like my truck went into the ditch at the time. So I actually knocked myself unconscious. So when I came to, I was so sure I was in the ditch. When I came to, my car was on the road, and my car was on the road, and EMT and ambulances was there. So I'm guessing somebody drove by and saw that I had an accident, called the but the way that everything looked like from not the crime scene, the accident scene, is that my car went into that ditch. But how was they able to get my car back out? So my thing is, I didn't see what happened though, but I'm thinking that one of those Bigfoots actually saw my car over there and probably recognized me for me just leaving the apples and put my car in a way that somebody could see it. Because by the way my car, when I came to it, everything was said and done, the way my car hit that ditch, even it being an all-wheel drive, I wasn't getting out that ditch. So I get from today till today, I still give them apples every weekend and stuff like that. So, pretty much everything is is going well with the exception of those two. A couple of weeks ago, I did get a phone call from my sister-in-law, and she told me about her encounter that she happened 10 years ago. So, 10 years ago, she was with her husband and stuff like that. So she has this. At the time, she had this little, those little Pomeranian dogs, those small toy dogs.
Yep.
So yeah, so she had one of those dogs. So she used to let it out every night and stuff like that. So every night her dog would be barking like uncontrollably, and she wouldn't know why it was barking. So one night, she let her dog out. Her dog was barking uncontrollably, and then all of a sudden it just stopped barking. As quick as it started barking, it just stopped. So she found it strange. So she was going out there outside looking for her dog. She had her phone in her hand. She was using the light from her phone because she didn't have a flashlight. Like standing like maybe like 20 feet away from her, she see this brown wolf-like creature standing there, having her dog in the air, eating her dog. She drops her phone and runs in the house screaming like, "Oh my God, what's her name is dead?" And I forgot the name of the dog. It's killing her. It's killing her. So her husband comes out like, "What is it? Is it a bear? What?" Just as it's her. So he's like, he gets his handgun. He goes out. She's like, "Don't go out there. It'll kill you. It'll kill you." So he goes out there. He sees this thing, yo. The minute he opens that door and sees what he was looking at, he closes that door and just like literally just start crying. Like ever since then, she's seen it, but she never told that story. So now we told her the stuff that was going on our property at the time. So she's actually having visitors at night, like scratching on the sidings, tapping on the window, and she thinks those things are back. So I'm actually gonna go by sometime next week, like probably around Thanksgiving, spend Thanksgiving with them, and try to help them and my pops and see what we could do for them. And because I felt bad, because I felt like I brought them there, because I wasn't thinking at the time. I was just thinking about my meeting the family, because I forgot that these things get tracked for a good distance. And like they track my wife, our sisters. So that's pretty much what happened so far. Another thing is, you also brought up about, I heard you talking about the 400 wolves and things like that in Russia and stuff like that. And I figure the reason why they're packing like that is because they can't threaten. Hold on a second.
Yep.
Yeah, so I heard y'all talking about the 400 wolves in Russia and stuff like that.
Your volume again, buddy.
So my thing is that can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So I heard my thing is that those walking wolves are taking over their territory and things like that, which is making food very scarce for them. So they feel like the best way for them to survive is to pack up. So that's my take on the thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, these things terrorize the town, and like you said, wolves don't really go into towns. They, try to stay out of little villages. Even if it's a small remote village, they'll try to avoid it as much as possible. And, they went...
Unless they don't have no choice and there's no food in the area.
Right. And, being a predator themselves, the only thing that's really going to scare them is a larger predator. And they're really not going to be, a pack of wolves are not going to be really too afraid of a singular bear or two bears, but something like a Dogman
Nah.
or the walking wolf, that's a whole different scenario for them.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, yo, those things are bigger, stronger, faster, and they're like wolves on like steroids and shit.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, yo, if there's no food in the area, if they're taking all the food in the area, they're gonna go to the closest area where they can get food because they're starving. It's literally taking over the areas. So they're doing a lot of things that even freaking bears are freaking grouping up together. I read something a couple weeks ago that was like a group of bears spotted. I forgot what state it was. And I'm like, that's a rare thing because those are, if it ain't mama and her cubs, it's a rare thing for bears to group together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
It's just crazy. So I mean, I will be going down there next weekend. So I'll just like to help like secure everything, make sure everything's good. I'm not too sure about what their gun laws down here. So right now I keep my weapons in the case and stuff like that because I have to read up on how the laws work over here, and I have to get my open carry and all of that stuff if they have that over there. But it's just crazy, man. These things, they're pissed, man. They're pissed. They're like Romy was just talking about, Joe. And then you mess with them too long, and they starting to bite back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they want what's. They either like you said when we were talking prior to the interview, they know when the end of times are because they're that type of creature, and they can sense disease, they can sense strife and melee, and 2020's been that year. I mean, so we've had a lot of encounters recently.
Yeah, because they're becoming out a lot more and they're getting a lot bolder. They're like, they know they got their thing is the reason why they only attack humans is because they had no need to let you get away. But they're saying like a lot of people that they let get. Now the thing is, a lot of people that they let getting away. When they let them get away, more people come. People with guns come, and some of their family members get missing. So now, these dogman things that you call them, their mindset is probably like, yo, if I let you go, you're gonna bring somebody else to kill me. So I'm just gonna take you out right then and there. I probably hide your body somewhere so they can't find you.
Yep.
That's why I like. Cause there was a lot of missing people in Mississippi. Yo. A lot of missing people, and cases became unsolved. Yo.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking this is what these things are doing. Because
And
for the longest, yo, they'll let you go. Because you and I both know nobody can outrun a walking wolf.
no.
You need to give your 100-yard head start. You will not be able to get away from it unless it wants you to. So it's funny how people say, I ran as fast as I could, and this and that, and I was able to get. No, you wasn't able to get away. It'll let you get away. This is an alpha predator. They can jump over 30 feet in the air in a single bound.
Yeah.
So now they're on. Like, they've been more aggressive than they ever been. My thing is, what I'm questioning is, why was I able to walk away from this last one?
Especially
that I don't get
the demonic one as well. I mean, you've been through. In Taylor, Mississippi is a hot spot and has been for years, and
hundreds of years.
Yeah,
actually,
your
really.
family has been tormented for generations. I mean, your great-grandfather, grandfather, dad, your kids. Right there's 5 generations of your family having to deal with these things, even though the kids, they were around for, the, with you getting hurt and shit like that. So it affects them as well. So, but you yourself have seen how smart, how cunning, how powerful they are. You've Big Red got taken, pretty much almost taken out by 3 or 4 of them. You know, I mean, still he put up a good fight, but when they pack up, they can pretty much do anything they want.
They could decimate anything. They could decimate anything. You know? And I believe if it wasn't for my grandfather, he probably wouldn't make it out because my grandfather said he was in bad shape when he found him.
Yep.
But he was still fighting. And once he realized the fight was over, is when he finally was able to like freaking just like relax, not even relax, just get experience. And like Victor said that he was almost on the brink of death. That his wounds to his neck was his worst one.
Yeah, he was tore up. You know, and they're just, I don't even know anymore. It's there's certain things that are coming to, you know, a head, and we're not gonna like where it leads to. I'm afraid. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. And on that note, like one of my things is the reason why I believe I survived that one because I believe I wasn't an intended target. Because mind you, when people was on my property for the longest, I know he smelled them around. So I don't know if he at the time he associated me with them or not. But I figured if he found me, I think his mentality, if he found me, he would have found them. So, but I think he's looking for those people because at the end of the day, they said the kid said that they killed its mate, and when he killed its mate, it went bonkers.
Right.
Like yo, and like they already lost like about. I think he said they lost about like 10 people already due to him and his pack. So, like a pack of freaking 40 walking wolves, that ain't no joke. Man. It's not a joke.
No, it's not. It's not. It's like a biker gang on steroids with claws and teeth.
Exactly, man. Like I don't know what else they did to piss this thing off, but this thing looks like it's not stopping until it gets every last one of them. So I'm pretty sure pretty soon the team is gonna get caught in and deal with them. It's gonna start being some more casualties. I'm surprised that he ain't heard about unless they covered it up, the deaths of the supposed agents and stuff like that. But they're losing men left and right.
Well,
I'm guessing when that comes into the point when they can't handle it, they're gonna have to contact Victor's team or Victor's agency.
Yeah. I mean, there's offshoot, not like Victor's team and agency or who he works for, but there's offshoot state branches and stuff like that. And, you know, they're even bothersome for Victor because when they get involved and try to cover it up and hide it and keep it a secret from them, that makes more work for his guys and him. So I don't know. They might have to get together and work together on this.
Yeah, they might have to. So hopefully, because I know I read a couple of the comments, people was asking who I sold the property to, are they aware of it? So I pretty much put it out there, yo. Some government official bought my property. The same government official who actually brought these walking rules to my property to either get me to leave or to get me to sell it. Bought it from me. And I don't like that too much if they're listening. But I don't care.
Right.
They already took everything else from me, you know?
Yeah. And your dad is safe. Your dad is with you. Your dad's not down there, in case everybody didn't hear that. Because...
Yeah.
So that's... you guys got out of there probably in a good time, too, because it's just going to come to a head down there, I feel.
Yeah, I feel so, too. Because I actually got to go back there, because, like I said, my sister-in-law was having occurrences that happened in the night. Just started a few weeks ago, so I need to see what that's about, because I'll feel bad if that was because of me,
Right, definitely.
So I'm going to stay there. I'm going to stay there for that weekend. For the week, actually.
So I know...
hopefully things will smoke.
Yeah, I know that you want to be a part of that 3-question, 15-minute thing. So you wanted to be at the tail end. I got a ton of emails. This is just an announcement for everybody so everyone can hear it. I got a ton of emails. I'm going to talk to Victor. I'm going to see, instead of doing one, because we were going to do 8 to 10 people, I think we're going to do a couple shows like that where we have myself, Victor, on the phone, and we notify the people we're calling ahead. They can come on and ask 3 questions, and I know you want to be a part of that. So, with you want to be last or around the last of everything. So that'll be perfect, and maybe you can give us an update on what happened when you went down there as well.
Yeah, definitely will. I definitely will.
All right.
I'm actually going to set up some surveillance cameras around my property.
Is there anything that you want to say to anybody before we end this interview quick?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody because I read the comments, your well wishes, and checking up on me. I am safe. My family's are safe. My family's happy. We actually love the new environment that we're in. That's a change for me, but I think I'm acting pretty well. And who knows? I think pretty soon I'm actually have another Bigfoot friend because I think he saved my life to help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, just stay safe. At the end of the day, like I said before, God gave y'all instincts for a reason. Use it. And also, I think this says was true. Don't lock yourself up. Enjoy nature. Just be smart about it. You know, if something don't feel right, then trust your instinct and just leave that area as soon as possible. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that can protect you is your instincts. So don't neglect them.
Right on. All right, buddy. I will get in touch with you sometime after the holiday, and we can get an update, and you can get your 3 minutes or your 3-question, 15 minutes with Victor.
All right, cool.
All right, guys. Definitely nice to hear from Luke. If there is any audio issues, that is not on my end. I don't know what was going on with his phone at the time. So one thing I'm going to address now is when we do the Q&A, I've got a list of people. I'm going to start sending texts out tomorrow and arranging the time. We're going to want to do it on Sunday, okay? And it's going to be in between 6 and 8 o'clock Eastern time. So I'm going to send out the texts tomorrow or make a couple calls, set everything up. It's going to be 15 minutes or 3 questions. If we go over 15 minutes, the call will respectively end. I'm not just going to hang up because there are so many other people that we need to get to. Also, please, during this, find a quiet spot to go. Sit down comfortably. Let people know, hey, I'm going to do this for 15 minutes. Don't be on speakerphone. Don't have headphones in with speaker on or your mic on. Just put the phone up to your ear like a normal phone conversation. And that way, that's the best quality. Because a lot of people are saying, well, the interviews suck because of your equipment. Well, no, I have an AKG mic. I don't have crappy equipment. I have great studio equipment right now. And please, if you guys want a great show, let's do that. All right. All right, guys, have a great night. Thanks.